Have you ever felt that? Like something's just holding you back, an invisible weight, some kind of barrier to your success. Well, today we're gonna dive into a chilling story that asks a pretty wild question. What if that barrier isn't something inside you, but the actual walls of your home?
We're heading to a small village in Rajasthan for a story that, well, it poses this really chilling question. It's one that might make you look at your own home a little differently. Seriously, can a house and the energy trapped inside it literally stop you from moving forward in life? So our story is all about a family living what seemed like a perfectly normal, happy life. A life where really the biggest problem they had was the sweltering summer heat. Okay, so you've got Bhagwati and her husband Dilip. They had a simple, pretty good routine going. Dilip had a little clothing business about 10 kilometers away, which meant he often worked late into the night. Meanwhile, Bhagwati was at home, managing the house and their 2 kids. Life was good, it was stable. And like a lot of people in their village, they had this cherished summer ritual. To get away from the blistering heat, the whole family would just sleep out on the open rooftop. Can you just picture that? A place for the family to be together, all under this huge, quiet night sky. A place they thought was totally, completely safe. But then, one night, a really dark, moonless night, that feeling of peace was just gone. Dilip gets home super late. We're talking 1 a.m. And as he walks in, he asks his wife this one simple, unsettling question that would pretty much unravel their entire world. He just asks, "Hey, who is that woman sitting in our courtyard reading a newspaper?" Bhagwati, totally confused and a little alarmed, rushes outside to see, but there was no one there, not a single soul. They checked again, the courtyard was empty. They just kind of brushed it off, maybe a trick of the mind. Just seeing things after a long, hard day. They had absolutely no idea it was just the beginning. So, after their late dinner, the family does what they always do. They go up to the roof. But this night was different. The night was no longer peaceful. Just as they were all starting to drift off to sleep, this terrifying sound just shattered the silence. It was this heavy, rhythmic thudding. Kind of a dum, dum, dum. It sounded like someone was jumping, and jumping hard, on the roof of the abandoned house right next door. They all shot up, hearts absolutely pounding, but the roof over there was empty. And the second they sat up, the sound just stopped. And the reason they were so terrified is because this wasn't just some random noise. Oh no, the house next door was famous for a chilling local legend, the story of the burnt bride. People in the village claimed they'd seen her spirit, with a charred body floating and crying on that exact roof. So suddenly, that thuddy noise wasn't just a noise, it felt like a legend coming to life right before their eyes. A few days go by, and some relatives come to visit. Now, Dilip was hesitant, but his sister insisted everyone sleep up on the roof to escape the heat. She actually laughed at him, told him he was being silly. So with a bigger group, they all settled in for the night. And sure enough, that jumping sound started again. But this time, as they all snapped awake, what they saw, well, it would haunt them forever. It wasn't just a sound anymore. This time, they saw her. On the neighboring roof, the figure of a bride, jumping up and down, her face turned right towards them, crying in this horrible anguish. The entire family saw it. Panic just erupted. They scrambled to grab the kids and they fled. From there, the terror just escalated and fast. First, they locked the roof door, hoping to seal whatever it was out. But the thudding was just replaced by this violent banging on that very same door, night after night. And then, the presence moved inside their house. Things would just change places on their own. Clay pots in the kitchen would suddenly shatter into pieces. They weren't safe anywhere in their own home. Trapped in this cycle of fear, the family knew they couldn't stay. It was impossible. They made a plan to leave. And right at that moment, just as they decided this, something remarkable happened. The owners of the haunted house next door, who had been living in Mumbai, showed up for a visit. Bhagwati's family knew they had to say something. They went over to the owners and just laid it all out. The sounds, the sightings, the absolute terror that everyone in the neighborhood had been witnessing for years. And the owner's reaction, it wasn't disbelief or denial, not at all. Instead, they just completely broke down, their faces just filled with this grief that had clearly never, ever left them. And through their tears, they finally told them the tragic story of their daughter. You see, their daughter, Sneha, had fallen in love with a boy from a different caste.
Her parents didn't approve, so they brought her from Mumbai back to this village house to keep them apart. But the boy, he followed her, and they met in secret. Well, one day her father found them together. In the heated argument that followed, a panicked Sneha accidentally grabbed a live electrical wire from some repair work going on. She was electrocuted instantly and died right there on the spot. Heartbroken and just unable to bear the memory, the family packed up and left for Mumbai, leaving the house and all their daughter's tragic energy behind. So after hearing this awful story, it all clicked for Bhagwati and Dilip. They finally understood. The spirit wasn't evil. She was just heartbroken, trapped in her own grief. But they knew they couldn't live next to that kind of profound sadness. The negative energy of that place was so thick you could feel it, and it was affecting every part of their lives. They moved out as fast as they possibly could, and the very moment they left that house and its sorrowful neighbor behind, everything in their lives started to change, practically overnight.
And I mean, the impact was real. You could measure it. While they lived in that house, their business struggled, and any kind of progress just felt impossible. But after they moved, their income just skyrocketed. Dilip's clothing business, which was once just barely getting by, started to flourish beyond their wildest dreams.
And get this, within just 3 years of leaving that place, they had earned enough money to build their very own house from the ground up. Think about that. They went from being terrorized renters to proud homeowners. The turnaround was absolutely incredible. So this story, it really offers a powerful lesson, doesn't it? The energy of a place, especially one that's been marked by tragedy, can put up a real wall that stops your progress. It's a huge reminder that our environment, it really matters. And sometimes, the bravest, most powerful thing you can do for your own future is to just walk away from all that negativity. So, this whole story leaves us with a question for our own lives. And it's not really about ghosts, is it? It's about those invisible forces that shape our well-being and our success. So take a second and really think about it. What is the energy like around you?